Hello, I'm Tony Ko, the host of TalkIT Global. In today's session, we're going to explore how we can accelerate our own growth using AI. When you hear the story of Gabriel Petersson, who dropped out of high school in Sweden, self-studied AI, math, and coding solely through generative AI chat, and eventually became an AI researcher at OpenAI in his mid-20s, you can sense that there is such a thing as AI native learning, and it's not just about being good at prompting. We've always been taught to build everything step by step from the basics. But Gabriel chose the exact opposite path. Start with the problem, dig downward, and pull in the knowledge you need. A top-down learning approach. Fixing bugs, asking questions, diving deeper, the fundamental naturally follow. In the AI era, perhaps the people who touch the problem first are the ones who grow the fastest.
The way I think people learn the fastest is by what you would call like a top-down approach, right? You'll probably learn faster if you start with a problem, and then you can read about everything required to start solving the problem, and then you find more problems and you read about those, and then you go down to like the core of the problem, right? So you start with the actual task and you go down. But that's extremely rare way to learn. Like in school, everyone has this mindset, right, of like, okay, we need to start with the foundations. We need to start, like, if you want to work with machine learning, like you can forget about doing any machine learning for the first like 4 years, right? It's like math, and then you have like matrix multiplications, you have linear algebra, and you have all these things that build up, and then you have the simpler ML that's like super outdated. You have like, you know, linear regression, all these things that are still used partly, but it's like, it will take you a very long time until you get to like production grade ML. Why is this? Well, it's extremely hard to scale the top-down approach, because that requires like a teacher always being there for you. It requires you being able to know exactly what piece of thing you need to learn at any point of time. Well, if you do bottom-up, you know, okay, first you always learn this, and then you always learn this. Yep. And it's much easier to scale, but it's extremely inefficient. And now with ChatGPT, all this changes. Like this will change. People say education will change all the time, but I can barely take universities seriously that don't teach ChatGPT as a part of their curriculum. It's like actually insane that this is not like a course that's taught from like 2 years old. Like suddenly foundational knowledge, universities don't have like a monopoly on foundational knowledge anymore. You can just get any foundational knowledge from ChatGPT. And people haven't really internalized how top-down problem solving works. They will always tell you things, you know, like, oh, but you'll never actually understand the problem. You'll never actually blah, blah, blah. And this is not true. You start with a problem, you recursively go down. Like if I want to learn machine learning, I ask ChatGPT, okay, what project should I do? Write the project for me. I have bugs, I start fixing the bugs, and then things work. And from there, I start with a specific part of the machine learning problem. Like, okay, what happens here? Can you explain to me with intuition why this module here makes the model learn? And it will explain to you, and then you say, oh, it uses matrix multiplication and linear algebra. You know, okay, how do they work? Yeah. What's the math intuition behind this? Like, show me, like, make up a couple of graphs to really make me get an intuition for this part of ML. And then suddenly you have all the foundational knowledge. Like, it doesn't need to go bottom up anymore.
Yeah.
And this shift I think this shift will like fundamentally change how education is done. And you just continue to ask the model constantly until you really understand. And when you understand, you can just tell the model, okay, this is my understanding of this. Is this completely correct? And then you'll also start learning about all these like small tricks you can do, right? Like explain this concept like I'm 12 years old. That one is really good. It will start like super easily. Like imagine you're in a bookstore and you can imagine the embeddings being the different books in the store. And then you can imagine, you know, all this, and it will connect everything that has to do with AI to like real world concepts, which makes it really easy to reason about for someone like me.
Gabriel emphasizes finding the gaps in your knowledge and digging in until you reach that aha moment. It means asking AI to explain things more precisely and more directly, and reconstructing your learning by exposing every intermediate step in the code. How often you can create these click moments. That becomes a new metric of learners in the age of AI.
The skill that's required here is knowing what gaps you have in your knowledge. Like say you have an AI model or like whatever else you want to learn, and understanding when you don't really understand a part. It's actually pretty hard to do. Like it's something you need to train up and practice on yourself. Like, wait a second, do I really understand this part? And then, so that's one signal you need. The second signal is when you start asking questions, you need to have a real strong signal for when it clicks. When you're like, there it clicked.
Yeah.
I can just understand like fundamentally why this thing is as it is.
How would someone else learn how to learn with AI?
This is a very good question. I mean, first of all, just change like the misconception of AI being used to do the work for you to instead, use the AI to explicitly help you learn. Like you don't just use it to get work done. You actually learn from it. I mean, the moment you just switch that mindset, which seems still fairly uncommon, but is becoming more and more common all the time, you have most of the things to get there, right? And then to become really good. First of all, like I said, like know when you have gaps in your knowledge, understand what it feels like when you fundamentally grasp something, and you constantly come up with all these hacks. Like you'll notice ChatGPT will respond in a fairly standard way. And your way of learning is probably not exactly what it responds like, because it wants to, make sure everyone has a good experience.
Yep.
But you probably want it to respond in another way. I very often tell it, for example, be extremely direct and concrete. Always show me all the intermediate states and the shapes of the code you produce. Make sure to make sure I have like a really intuitive understanding of why it happens. And if you're unsure, make sure you show me options and like what others have tried and why this works and why something else didn't work. And you start becoming good at like asking these questions that give you the aha moment. Like as fast as possible, you want to get to the aha moment.
Yeah.
Like the first time you understood linear algebra or the first time you understood why backpropagation works, you probably had a very clear like, oh wow, it finally clicked. And to chase these clicks and to make them appear like as frequent as possible, right? That's like kind of your utility function.
The era of listing specs in an interview is over. Gabriel stresses just one thing: the proof that you built something yourself. A demo that anyone can understand at a glance. One that makes people think, within 3 seconds, this person can actually build things. That simple proof carried more weight than educational words, and it explained Gabriel, a high school dropout, far better than any resume ever could.
The number one thing I recommend to people is making a demo that is super, super simple. It's actually really hard to make a good demo for a lot of reasons. Everyone thinks it's hard because they need to make a demo that is hard and they don't have the skills. This is very not true. You can make very simple, like you don't need that much code knowledge to make a really cool demo. The hard part of making a demo is making sure that people understand why you can code within 3 seconds. You have like 100 applicants for something. If you apply with one link and they press the link and you have one shot, right? Like making sure you build a really cool demo where people understand what they're looking at, which is really hard, and where people understand that you're a really good engineer, which is really hard, but then you're there. I mean, that's all they want to see. I mean, companies just want to make money. You show them how to make money, that you can code, and they'll hire you. And then you might say, but they only hire people with degrees. Well, yeah, because literally no one has ever showed them that they can do their work. They're like, I had these internships. And the interviewer would be like, okay, what did you do there? I streamlined pipelines and made things 30% more efficient. And the interviewer like, okay, well, that tells me literally nothing. Okay, what else? What have you done? I went to Harvard, I have the best grades. Well, I still don't know if you can do the job, right? But I have all this extracurricular. I was a debate champion. You start going on about all these things that parents will tell you, people around you will tell you. Yeah. Nothing matters.
Lastly, your likes and subscriptions greatly empower us to continue creating content. Thank you for your support.